I didn't catch her cheating in bed. I didn't read secret messages at midnight. I didn't overhear whispers behind closed doors. I caught her relaxing. That's the part people don't talk about. The moment when someone stops being careful because they're sure they've already won. It was a regular evening, the kind that used to feel safe. She came home late, tossed her bag on the chair, kicked off her shoes, and went straight to the shower without saying a word. No kiss, no, I missed you. Just water running and music playing too loudly. Her phone was on the kitchen table, face down. I wasn't suspicious yet. I trusted her, I always had. But then it vibrated. Once, twice, 3 times. I told myself not to look. I really did. But the screen lit up, and I saw a name I recognized. One of my friends. Not a colleague, not a stranger. Someone who had sat at my table, drunk my beer, laughed at my jokes. The message preview disappeared too fast for me to read the words, but the emojis were enough. I didn't open the chat. I didn't scroll. I didn't dig. I just put the phone back exactly where it was. That's when something inside me went completely quiet. Not angry, not hurt, quiet. Later that night, she curled up next to me in bed like nothing had changed. She rested her head on my chest, the same place she used to fall asleep when she felt safe. "Long day," she said softly. I wrapped my arm around her and kissed her hair. "Get some rest," I replied. She sighed. Content, calm, careless. And in that moment, I understood something very clearly. She didn't think she was doing anything wrong anymore. She thought she was untouchable. That's when I stopped being her husband and became her observer. After that night, I started paying attention. Not in an obvious way. I didn't ask questions. I didn't accuse. I didn't change my tone. I became patient. She started lying more often. Not dramatically, not badly. Small lies, comfortable ones. "I'm having dinner with the girls. I'll be home late. Don't wait up." My phone died. That's why I didn't reply. And every lie came with the same relaxed smile. The smile of someone who believes the truth is already buried. What fascinated me wasn't the betrayal itself. It was how easily she lived with it. She would come home smelling like unfamiliar cologne and crawl into bed beside me. She would talk about our future while texting someone else under the table. She would look me in the eyes and say, "You're the only man I trust." And I would nod. I started noticing patterns. Certain nights she dressed differently, slower, more carefully. Certain names came up in conversation more often. Certain friends stopped coming around the house. Then one evening, she made a mistake. She laughed at something on her phone. A soft, private laugh. The kind she used to reserve only for me. "Who's that?" I asked casually, not looking at her. She froze for half a second. "No one. Just something stupid online." She laughed again. Louder this time. Forced. That's when I knew. It wasn't one man. It wasn't one mistake. It was a circle. My friends. Men I trusted. Men who called me brother. Men who knew my schedule, my habits, my weaknesses. I didn't confront her. I didn't confront them. Instead, I began preparing. I updated my medical records, booked a full checkup, blood tests, everything. The doctor asked why. "Just routine," I said. But deep down, I already had a feeling. A quiet, growing certainty that whatever she had brought into our marriage, she had brought to all of them too. And soon enough, I wouldn't have to say a single word, because the truth has a way of introducing itself. The signs didn't come all at once. They never do. At first, it was small things. Headaches she blamed on stress, Exhaustion she blamed on work, a strange irritability that appeared out of nowhere and disappeared just as quickly. She slept more, ate less, avoided eye contact. That evening, she came home early for the first time in months. Her face was pale, her hands shaking as she set her bag down, as if gravity itself had become heavier around her. She tried to speak. I didn't mean, I didn't know it would. It just happened. I let her talk, because every excuse she offered only confirmed what I already understood. This wasn't carelessness. This was entitlement. She believed consequences were for other people. When I finally spoke, my voice surprised even me with how steady it was. Do you know what hurts the most? I asked. Not that you betrayed me, but that you were so certain I would carry it quietly. She broke down then, crying the way people cry when the story they have been telling themselves stops working. And I realized something important in that moment. She wasn't afraid of losing me. She was afraid of being seen clearly. I didn't scream. I didn't throw things. I didn't demand explanations that could never justify the magnitude of what had happened. I watched her cry, her hands trembling, trying to articulate a version of the story that made her seem small, but not guilty, desperate to rearrange the shards of her lies into something that could pass for truth. I listened to her speak and realized, with a clarity I had never felt before, that no words could undo what had already been done. Every excuse, every half apology, every trembling attempt at justification was just a reminder that she had chosen her comfort over conscience, her desires over decency, and that the illusion she had lived in so comfortably had finally collapsed in the quietest, most merciless way possible, by life itself. I sat across from her and said nothing. I did not offer pity. I did not offer forgiveness. I let silence stretch between us like an unbroken bridge, long enough that she could see, in the depth of my quiet, that nothing would be rebuilt from this. The weight in the room shifted subtly, almost imperceptibly, but unmistakably. She realized the control she once assumed she held had evaporated, leaving only herself and the consequences she had ignored for too long. And in that silence, I finally understood my own strength. Not the strength of anger, not the strength of vengeance, but the strength of someone who had endured deception, humiliation, and fear, and had not only survived, but had preserved the parts of herself that could never be touched by another person's betrayal. In the weeks that followed, the world seemed to correct itself around me. Mutual friends, those who had known the web she had spun, drifted away without confrontation, their own consciences quietly settling accounts. Her other accomplices, The ones who had shared in the duplicity found themselves isolated, facing judgments they had never anticipated, learning that the world does not forgive manipulation disguised as charm or camaraderie. And through it all, I did not seek their downfall, did not orchestrate scenes of public humiliation, did not feel compelled to announce to anyone the truth that they had already begun to witness in the natural collapse of her world. My victory was quieter, subtler, immeasurable in the eyes of others, but profound in the chambers of my own heart. I had reclaimed my dignity, my clarity, my right to exist without fear or compromise. When the day came to finalize the divorce, I entered the office not with triumph or bitterness, but with the serenity of someone who has already faced the storm and emerged whole. I signed the papers without a glance at her, without a word to provoke her into theatrics, knowing that all the acts of reckoning had already occurred where it mattered most, in the reality of her shattered illusions and my own regained autonomy. Outside, the city moved on in its usual rhythm. People hurried past, oblivious to the intricate dramas that unfold behind closed doors, and I felt a strange peace settle into my chest, a steady, unshakable beat that reminded me of something essential. Life continues, but only those who remain true to themselves carry forward unbroken. I walked away not with vengeance, not with revenge, not with a display of power over the one who had betrayed me, but with something infinitely more valuable: freedom. Freedom from expectation, from disappointment, from the toxic need for validation from someone who never deserved it. I rebuilt my life quietly, deliberately, with attention to every choice I made, from the people I let in, to the spaces I inhabited, to the small rituals that restored a sense of self I hadn't even realized I had been missing. Nights that once felt lonely became times of reflection. Days that once demanded compromise became exercises in autonomy. And in that measured, deliberate living, I discovered the true weight of resilience, that it is not loud, it is not performative, and it is never dependent on anyone else's recognition. It simply exists, solid and enduring, within you.
Sometimes, late at night, I think back to that moment in the bathroom, to the phone on the washing machine, to the laughter I wasn't meant to hear, and I do not feel anger. I do not feel sadness. I feel gratitude. Gratitude that the truth revealed itself, that I bore witness to it without losing myself, and that I now walk through the world unafraid, untethered, and unbroken. For anyone listening to this story, anyone who has felt betrayed, underestimated, or invisible, understand that your power lies not in revenge, not in confrontation, not in proving them wrong. Your power lies in survival, in clarity, in the quiet reclamation of yourself after everyone else has tried to define you. That is the victory no one can take from you, the story that cannot be rewritten, the life that is finally yours. Thank you so much for watching and supporting StoryHeart.